Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Amanda and I am a neurodivergent woman. I have autism, ADHD, a rare memory disorder called SDAM, where I don't remember the events of my life, and I have multisensory aphantasia, which means I don't experience the senses in my mind. And I have videos on all of these topics on my channel, so make sure you check out my playlist. So most of the time when I start to film a video, I have a topic in mind, but I also tend to do these videos where I just turn on the camera and see what comes out. Because of the aphantasia and the SDAM, I don't really this isn't coming out right. I don't think I have an inner monologue either. I've talked about this on the channel. I'm still trying to understand what an inner monologue is when I've asked several people. I think for one thing, I was collapsing an inner monologue with an inner dialogue. So I can run scripts through my head. That's something that autistic people often do. Before a doctor's appointment, I will kind of just try to run through a script, okay, these are the things I need to make sure I say, and if the doctor asks these questions, what will I say back? I can do that inside my head. I don't hear the words because of aphantasia. I don't experience any of the senses in my mind, so I don't actually, there's no sound quality to the thoughts in my head, but I do have thoughts in my head. That's a good thing, right? But as far as an inner monologue, from what I've heard described, is that's just like a constant, always voices in a way, whether or not they have sound quality or not, just streaming through your head. And I don't think I have that. I do daydream occasionally, get lost in thought. So I'm not sure. From when people describe how their inner monologue is to them, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound like it sounds like my experience. But I also not sure exactly how to describe my experience, when I do get lost in thought and daydreams. And part of that is because as soon as I realize that I've been lost in thought or daydreaming, it's it disappears from my brain, and I can't wait, what was I even thinking about? I have no idea. I don't know if that's ADHD. One of the things I love to do is just kind of dissect how people's brains work, and what does this fall under? And in some ways, none of it really matters. And in some ways, it all matters, because I think the more that we can share and talk about our inner experiences with each other, the more we kind of understand each other as humans. I think I grew up for a long time thinking that other people thought the same way as I did. And that was a huge fallacy. Being undiagnosed autistic, I actually have a minority brain type, especially autistic that has aphantasia and a memory disorder. So actually, in fact, most people do not think anything like I think. So I can see how that caused a lot of trouble for me growing up, because I just assumed that if I felt a general way about something, other people would feel that same thing. And then of course, as I got older and I would realize that things that just didn't bother me at all would really bother other people. And it's kind of with age and maturity, you get, okay, yeah, there are a lot of people who have much different ways that their brains work. Anyway, like I said, this is probably just going to be a rambling video. The other thing that has been on my mind, I did a video 2 times ago talking about starting ADHD meds. that is a process in of itself, because I been undiagnosed until I got diagnosed at the end of last year at 42. So I've never been on ADHD meds. And so part of me was thinking, well, I've gone this long without them. Do I really need to mess with my brain chemistry in that way? But I've struggled. Like, there's been a lot of times in my life where it's like, if I could have executive functioning that worked better, my working memory working better, all these things that people with ADHD struggle with, maybe things wouldn't have to be as hard as they are for me. So I'm like, it's worth trying them out. And if I just don't like the way that they make me feel, it's not something I have to continue. Another thing that just starting down this path for ADHD medicines, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. It has really made me aware of the privilege it is to even consider whether or not I want to take ADHD meds. It's just an extreme unfairness in our country, in America, that's supposed to be so great. Mental health is a privilege. Being able to take care of your mental health in this country, you have to be privileged. You have to have insurance. You have to have insurance that sees or takes care of mental health. A lot of insurances don't really cover mental health, or just the very bare minimum. And trying out these ADHD medicines, even with insurance, can add up, because I started one, and again, it's so weird. Like, it's just the way insurance works. She wanted me on it for 10 days, but the insurance approved 30-day supply. And I think maybe I could have told the pharmacist, I didn't know this until later, but I guess you can tell the pharmacist that you only want to pay for 10 pills. But then that may be out of pocket. Like, I don't know. It gets really confusing. So I was on the dose for 10 days, and then she wanted to bump me up. Then that's a whole new prescription. And then when I bumped up, that actually, I might have had a reaction, so I went back down. And so and if that doesn't work, then we might be trying another medication. So the process of even finding out which medicine you need, you have to be able to make these doctor's appointments, have the time to make these phone calls, because sometimes it takes a while. You have to if you are working, which I'm not, you would have to take off work to go to the doctor's appointments to talk to the doctor and get the prescription. So sometimes that means taking days off. It makes time, then money to fill the prescriptions. Mental health is a privilege, and it shouldn't have to be. But so yeah, for those who are wondering, I'm not saying what prescriptions I'm on, because everybody's going to react to medications differently, and so I don't want my prescription to influence anybody if they are thinking about starting a medication themselves. I'm sorry guys, if y'all are hearing this weird noise, I don't know if my microphone is picking it up, but my pug is down here chewing on a bone. He's very loud. And I don't know if my mic is picking it up, but if it is, that's what that weird noise is. Okay. So medications, yeah. So I got this really random rash last week, and it was extremely miserable. And I thought maybe it was from the medications, but I ended up actually going in to see the doctor again. I've seen the doctor more in the last couple of months than I have in the last like 10 years, I swear. What was I saying? Oh, but she said because of the timing of it, because it was like 15 days into being on this prescription, she does not think that it's a reaction to the ADHD medicine that she put me on. And she thinks it is a viral hives. But it's now cleared up. So I did stop the ADHD medicine for, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. And now that the rash is cleared up, I started taking them again at the low dosage. And so we're going to see if the rash comes back, then scientific method. We're going to assume at that point that I am allergic to the medication, and we'll go another route. So finding the right ADHD medicine can be an incredibly arduous process in of itself. But I do hope this one works, because even just this morning, 1 dose in, again, I've already noticed like my thoughts have been a lot more cohesive, like less tangenty, and like, oh, what was I talking about? What was, because I do that a lot. And I mean, I've already done that once or twice in this video. It's not like I'm not gonna ever do that, but it feels like I'm holding on to my thoughts for longer. And oh my gosh, this morning I found myself just walking around the house, seeing some tasks that needed to be done and doing them. If you don't have ADHD, you're not going to understand that. Like, some of these were multi-step tasks. So, for instance, I used to have a futon, and now I have this couch. I used to have a futon, and that futon gouged my wall, okay? And I bought this couch last summer. That gouge has been in my wall for months now, almost half a year. And every day I look at it, and every day I'm like, I need to go out to the garage and find the putty, because I know I had some, find a spackly thingy, and fix that hole. And I've never been able to actually do that task. Like, the thought gets there, and the thought of going out into the garage and trying to find that putty is just too much. Today, I just happened to look at that hole again, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that needs to be done. That's been on my list for a long time. Let me do that. And I went out to the garage and did the thing. Now, I do need to paint it, but it needed time to dry, so I'm just going to let it cure up, and I don't know. I might even paint it after this video. Not sure. So this is very hopeful. Like, these kinds of things would make my life so much better if the medicine just calms my brain down and then lets me do the tasks that I want to do. Like, I've been wanting to fix that hole in my wall for months. And that's the thing, like, people don't get about people with ADHD. We get called lazy, or like we're procrastinating. I've wanted to do that. My body and brain connection, I cannot describe it, would not let me do that task. Like, I just couldn't get myself there. Today, I didn't even think anything of it. I'm just like, oh, I need to go do it. So, I have hopes, people. I have hopes. Now, just let's pray that this, I'm not a praying person, but whatever, that this medicine doesn't give me a rash again, because so far I'm liking it. Okay, this video is going to be long, but you know what? I needed this. The last thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, and again, this is completely off topic, so if you're with me, thank you so much for watching and supporting me. This channel has been really good for my mental health, because talking out loud like this and knowing that somebody's out there listening and relating, and that maybe my words are resonating and making a difference, it just means a lot to me. I've always just really wanted to make a difference in my life, but not know how to make that happen in the capacity that I can. Like, I know there's tons of ways to make a difference out in the world, but they have to align with what you're capable of doing. And being undiagnosed autistic ADHD like that had pushed up against me, and I haven't found my path. And I'm hoping that through this channel it might open up more pathways for me to be that voice and that disability advocate and autistic advocate and make the difference that I've truly wanted to make in my life. Whew, okay, see, that wasn't where I thought I was taking this. What I thought I was going to say was also weighing on my mind a lot this week is friendships. So as a neurodivergent person, I don't know if you've heard of it, but you know, there's that term that says birds of a feather flock together. And what that means in neurodivergent terms is a lot of times if you are neurodivergent, whether you realize it or not, you actually tend to make friends who are neurodivergent. So if you look up and a lot of your friends are autistic, ADHD, bipolar, or any of the other things that fall under the neurodivergent umbrella, you might want to start taking a look at your life, because you're probably neurodivergent in some way too. Because neurodivergent people just have a different communicating style than neurotypical people, and we tend to become friends, and neurotypical people tend to become friends with other neurotypical people. This being said, and I don't know how it is for neurotypical people, because I'm not, and I don't know. I can't answer that. But I do know that as a neurodivergent person, and having the struggles that I have, and then being friends with neurodivergent people who are also struggling, sometimes that can make friendships even extra hard. So like, I have a friend who is bipolar, and when she's having a downtime, you know, she wants to introvert in and kind of rest, and she's struggling with mental health issues. When on her like bipolar, you have like upswings and then you have downswings. Well, her downswing happened last week while I was dealing with this rash, and that really affected my mental health, because I just couldn't do anything, and I was feeling just all kinds of useless. And so we were both down at the same time, and it's really, I was like trying to text her, and I was like, I want to like help you out. I want to like be there for you, but I'm struggling too. And she texted and she said, same, ditto. And we got those texts out, but we didn't talk. And normally we talk once or twice a day. And it's just really hard, because I was thinking, like, several times last week, I was like, oh, I don't have any friends. And I do have friends, but sometimes the little gremlin in your head lies to you and wants to tell you that you're not like worth of being anyone's friend, and nobody cares about you. And I know that's so not true. I have some really amazing friends, but sometimes I've got to remember they're all going through their own things too. And sometimes we can be there for each other, and sometimes we all just have to kind of like know that they're out there thinking about us, but they're struggling too. So that's kind of where I've been this last week. All right, well, I will wrap up this video. Thank you for watching and listening. It's Sunday night. I'm going to edit this tomorrow. Normally I film, edit, and publish all within like a couple hours of each other. But I think I'm going to just go enjoy my Sunday evening. I've got an embroidery project I'm working on, and I'm trying to learn to listen to audiobooks. It's really hard for me to focus on them because of the ADHD. But I'm going to try. Hopefully this medicine will help. And I'll edit and put this up tomorrow morning. So I thank you for watching, and until the next one, guys, bye.